people. Here we are together. It's another fresh day. I'm so thankful for your irreplaceable light and the wisdom and experience that you bring into the world. Today is a gift. And it's filled with possibility. So let's open this gift with kindness in our hearts and curiosity in our minds. And remember, we're all still growing and learning. So grab your nearest drink. I made a coffee just a few minutes ago. Sip your drink with me. Whatever it is, if it's a Red Bull or a coffee, if you have your water, hopefully you have drank water already this morning. If not, pause the video and do that right now. So good. Water is so good. I hope I can convince you, if you watch these videos almost every day or you've watched a number of these videos, hopefully you have that same feeling of how wonderful drinking your water is. You can get out of that mindset where water doesn't taste good or I hate water or whatever. You can really talk yourself into loving water. I did. So let's check in with our bodies, you and me. Let's take that deep breath. Okay, nothing's going on. I have had a morning already. If you've read that book, If You Give a Mouse a Cookie, that has been my morning. I focus when I wake up. I kind of gear myself towards making a video. And, I read my script. I have these steps I do where I email it to myself. So it's on my computer. I can see it. Make my coffee. First, I talk to my daughter in the morning on her way to school. Today I added jump roping to my routine. But yeah, when I went to make my coffee, I saw I didn't have creamer, so then I'm like, oh yeah, I need to add that to my grocery list. But then I was like, oh yeah, I need Parmesan cheese, I need this, and oh, what are we going to do for dinner? Maybe I should add some more things. And then I was like, oh, I should get that meat out of the freezer. Then I'm in the freezer. I'm like, well, this box is half empty. I'm going to empty it, make some space, stack my ice cream. Rearranged my freezer this morning for no reason. So, yeah, it was funny. Oh, and then I got into the cabinet for something. Oh, I was out of my sugar, so I had to get in the cabinet to get sugar. Then I was like, oh, this cabinet's a mess. Let me reorganize in here. So finally, I've made it here. It's almost 10 o'clock in the morning, my time. And I'm just barely sitting down to do this. But I had something very special I wanted to bring to you today. I had the last episode talked about this courage of being disliked, the courage to be disliked. It has another book in that series, The Courage to Be Happy. So you wouldn't think being happy takes courage at all. I think happiness is something you can develop, you can put in your life. But there's some ideas that were brought to me in this book where I'm like, I don't know, I don't feel right about that. That doesn't seem completely accurate. I haven't seen that in my life, even though I'm very focused on happiness and happy-inducing activities and thoughts. So, it's waking up every single morning and choosing to be happy, I guess, is what's really stuck out to me in the book. So let me start by saying, in the last episode, we broke down that philosophy of the courage to be disliked. We learned how to unbuckle this heavy backpack and at one point throw that backpack far, far away from you. It's people pleasing. It's separating our tasks from other people's tasks, and realize that what others think of us isn't our business. That's entirely on them, what they think about us. We don't have to try to control other people's perceptions of us. And to me, that equates to my persona, reputation. Like, if you can just separate yourself from your reputation, you'll have so much more peace. So it's liberating. But let's be honest, after that initial rush of like that revelation of freedom, and then reality is going to set in. You walk out your front door, you can look at the news, navigate difficult family dynamics. I did just have an aunt just pass away, so we have some stuff going on. Who do we talk to? Do we offer to help? There's all these decisions now to be made. So you have to deal with frustrations at work. So then you'll ask yourself, okay, now I'm free of people's perceptions of me, but how do I actually become happy while all this is happening? So that's what this book helps us learn, and it's masterfully written by two Japanese authors. I'm going to try to say their names: Ichiro Kishimi and Fumio Koga. It's set 3 years after that first book, and this student of the philosopher, the youth, returns. He's frustrated. He says, I tried putting Elderian psychology into practice in the real world, but it's too hard. People are difficult. Society is messy. Choosing happiness feels impossible. So the philosopher smiles and explains that the student missed the biggest secret of all. Happiness is not a passive emotion that just happens when everything goes right. Happiness is a choice that requires immense, deliberate bravery. So, I want to bring to you some real insights that I got. It does take bravery. You know what? You could be surrounded by wet blankets who want you to be miserable with them, and breaking out of the mold. And I just saw my nephew posted something where the cycle breakers in your family, those are the most ostracized people in their families, because they're not going along with the abuse or the trauma or the patterns that the family is used to. So it does take some bravery sometimes to choose to be happy, especially if you have this ongoing atmosphere around you that's preventing it. People who love drama, you're surrounding yourself with people who love drama. It's hard to be happy. It really is. So, there was a section in here that deals with how we look at other human beings. The authors argue you cannot experience true joy in isolation. Your happiness is fundamentally tied to your interpersonal relationships, and the absolute starting point for any healthy relationship is respect. But Elderian psychology defines respect differently than our modern culture does. So we think respect is something someone has to earn through their status or behavior or achievements, but Alfred Adler argued that true respect means looking at a person exactly as they are, recognizing their unique value as an independent individual, and assisting them in their growth without trying to change, control, or manipulate them. And in my intro today, I said, I am so thankful for your irreplaceable light and the wisdom and experience that you bring in the world. And that is very Elderian in thought. So acknowledging people have value, they have something to add, and you can educate them, you can encourage them to do things without manipulating or changing them or trying to control them. So this book emphasizes you cannot change another person. If your happiness depends on making your spouse or your children, your coworkers, or people in your social media feed behave how you want them to behave, you'll live life in this constant, underlying resentment. So respect means choosing to see people through this empathetic lens of grace, meeting them where they are. That means different things to different people, but boy, I wish I could give an example of this, meeting them where they are. You're not trying to change somebody, giving your grace without calling out their absurdity. Maybe that could be a good way of saying meeting people where they are. Letting go of the desire to manipulate other people's choices. That's what respect means. When you stop trying to control others, a massive wave of peace can come over you. So, practical framework. Let's dive into practical psychological tool that was given to us in this book that can instantly rescue your mind from that toxic negativity that's floating out in the world. You are surrounded by this negativity. Let's give ourselves this tool to instantly rescue ourselves. It's called the two-pronged fork of communication. So when people are frustrated, hurt, or trying to navigate conflict, excuse me, their dialogue almost always gets stuck on one of two prongs or paths of thought. That bad person, that person, that thing, or poor me. Think about some conversations you've seen or heard online, and this relentless finger pointing. I try to avoid that. I am guilty. It's saying that person over there, that bad person ruined everything. Or you just spiral into this self-pity, crying of, poor me, it's always happening to me. I can't get out of this. Look what they did to me. So this philosopher in the book points out that as long as you're stuck talking about that bad person or poor me, the two-pronged fork, you're actually trapped in a victim mindset. You're handing the keys to your emotional well-being over to someone or some external circumstances, and you feel completely helpless. And you can't break free from that thinking because you've given up all control over fixing your situation or your mindset. But to break free from that, to step into this architecture of happiness that we're creating for ourselves, you must completely bypass the fork and ask the only question that actually matters. What do I do from now on? That happened, this situation happened. Instead of poor me or that person's bad, it is what do I do from now on? How do I move on from this? I don't know if you noticed, but I thought that was a very empowering question. It doesn't matter who was wrong in the past. It doesn't matter how unfair the situation is. But by asking, what do I do from now on? You're reclaiming your agency, your power, your ability to impact what you do and how you feel going forward. You take the wheel and choose your next intentional step. So, I don't know, maybe you could pause it right now, pause the video and think of some victim mindset you might be having right now and try to ask yourself that question. What am I going to do moving forward? What do I do from now on? So this shift from victimhood to agency, and I talked about this a couple months ago, having agency. It brings us this emotional climax that's in the book where the courage is to love unconditionally. The author states that human beings are naturally wired for self-centeredness, but true happiness requires us to make a courageous transition from the happiness of me to the happiness of us. So Elderian psychology notes that real love is not an infatuation or a feeling that washes over you. Love is a choice, a decision, and a continuous task. It means extending yourself to contribute to the well-being of others without demanding anything in return. That even applies to what I talked in the last episode, their idea of you. You can do nice things for people and not expect them to think anything of you or them to change their behavior. You get to choose who you help, though. You can be an enabler of people's bad decisions and habits. So do some evaluation if you find yourself in some sort of loop where you're helping enable people. So in 1 Corinthians 13:5, it says, love is not self-seeking, it's not easily angered, and it keeps no record of wrongs. So if you're loving with strings attached, thinking, I'll be nice to you if you treat me well, then you're not acting out of fear, not of love. Also in Luke 6:35, it encourages us to do good and lend, expecting nothing in return. So that's something I found in this book, The Courage to Be Happy. It proves that when you cultivate the spiritual and psychological self-reliance to give love freely, you break that power that this external negativity has over you. You actually become, and it's biblical, a fountain of light. You become that city on a hill that cannot be hid when you have that light inside of you, that love, true love, that giving that comes from being free and having that courage to be happy. You're not soaking up the darkness of the world then either. There's so many things in that when you become this source of light and happiness and joy and freedom. You're not absorbing those crazy things either. So let us see. I try to do a little bit of homework. Every time I make a video, I give myself something to do. So it's to practice pivoting from that fork thoughts, those two-pronged thoughts, to from now on. Write it on a sticky note from now on. So sometime today, if you catch yourself dwelling on an old grievance or complaining about someone's bad behavior, or you slip into a poor me mindset, oh, poor me, catch yourself and visibly, physically pivot your focus and say out loud, what should I do from now on? From now on. That's going to be my motto today. From now on. What am I going to do from now on? I actually had a success. I just had a win, and I'm going to keep going and keep growing, because from now on, from now on? Yeah, from now on, what am I going to do? How am I going to go forward? My values, how am I going to behave and be happy? And you can choose that every day. That is something I had a hard time accepting too as I was reading this book. Like, every day, you can wake up and be happy every day, because I have not exhibited that. It's not every day that I wake up just happy. It takes effort sometimes. So I just want you to know you can be courageous. You can go to the library, get this book, flip through it. It's kind of funny. It's a dialogue. It's interesting to read how it's laid out. If anything sparked a thought, leave a comment or a like, and please subscribe. Every single day is a chance to grow and learn and become more of the wonderful person you are. And the world is better with your light in it. I truly believe that. Thanks for sharing time with me. Thanks for sharing a sip of coffee with me. So I'll be here next time. But until then, you have a good day. And remember, you're the Lord's precious ones. Bye.